According to an entry in Urban Dictionary, pending approval, it is the act of bamboozling guardians repeatedly with a fusion rifle. Well, first off, you'll need yourself a free-range fusion rifle with a good combination of charge rate, range, and stability. This video is about the best fusion rifles in the game. Don't you leave! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The name's Ben, and in this video, I'll list the top 10 best performing fusion rifles I've come across since the launch of Destiny. One of the most interesting things I've learned while making this video is that fusion rifles cannot be classified categorically by their charge rate or impact, or any other trait for that matter. Instead, what we see is a wide range of base stats. This means that you won't find functionally identical reskins of your favorite fusion rifles. Most of the fusion rifles listed here can still be obtained from vendors or playlist rewards, while one or two of them are no longer available. Their placement on this list is based on the order in which I discovered them and or the amount of success I've had with them. So, without further ado, number 10. Light of the Abyss. Did I include this fusion rifle to avoid titling this video Top 9 Fusion Rifles in Destiny? I'd rather not say, but I will say this: it has the highest base charge rate of all the fusion rifles in the game. Since it first debuted with the Dark Below, it became one of my favorites for this reason alone. It plays a lot like a shotgun, with the added range of course, and its decent impact makes it extremely effective at neutralizing shoddy runners. It has a moderate range and stability, making it pretty versatile at medium ranges. If you're thinking of getting one of your own, it is obtained from the earlier checkpoints of the Crota's End raid. And if you ever find yourself with nothing to do on Destiny, I highly recommend fishing for this one. Keep in mind it won't be usable in playlists with level advantages enabled, like Trials or Iron Banner, but it'll still let you hold your own in other playlists. It comes standard with hipfire and crowd control. Hipfire ensures the beams stay close to one another, and given its ridiculous charge rate, you'll find crowd control procs pretty frequently. I should mention that crowd control in this particular weapon doesn't improve its lethality against opponents with full health, meaning you'll need 5 beams to kill them, regardless of whether or not crowd control procs. Lastly, it comes with an 8-round magazine, which complements an aggressive playstyle. Number 9. Light Beware. This was actually the first fusion rifle I'd ever given any serious consideration. It was sold by the Vanguard Quartermaster. The version you see here came with Rangefinder, Perfect Balance, and Cascade, a perk that increases reload speed on melee kills. You can tell from this ancient footage that I was still going for headshots, like a nooblet. Much like Light of the Abyss, Light Beware required 5 bolts to kill. Actually, come to think of it, all the fusion rifles on this list require 5 bolts to kill, except for one. Light Beware has a relatively moderate charge rate, and a good stability which makes it excellent for medium range encounters. I've held on to this for sentimental reasons. In fact, I'm holding on to all my fusion rifles with the hope that one day Bungie will accidentally ninja buff them. Another relic from the golden age of fusion rifles, that's before the dawn of damage fall off by the way, is the Purifier, and incidentally it's number 8 on this list. It was sold by the New Monarch vendor, and it had the highest base stability stat in year 1, along with the plug 1 and give/take equation. The Purifier was my gateway trifling device into the art of mapping. That's when you land all fusion rifle bolts on target across the map. This normally requires that you aim for the feet of your target. The version you see here came with hipfire, accelerated coils, and last resort. I find the perks hipfire and accelerated coils to be highly complementary, especially on low charge rate fusion rifles. When using the Purifier, I'd often charge my shot mid-slide and then rely on the hipfire perk to keep my bolts in a tight circle as I came to a stop. It does have a relatively lower fire rate compared to other fusion rifles, at least without accelerated coils. Pretty often, if you happen to be standing by me when I'm using this weapon, you'll hear me DJ scratch the right trigger. This not only shortens the time it takes to open fire, if at all necessary, but it also makes you feel cool.
You're such a nerd.
Number 7. The Hitchhiker FR4. This fusion rifle is currently sold by the Dead Orbit vendor. It has the highest impact of all the fusion rifles. The version you see here was a drop version with knee pads, hand-laid stock, and rangefinder. Unlike most fusion rifles, only 4 out of the 7 bolts are required to kill a target within optimal range. Rangefinder and hand laid stock are perfect perks to that end. Knee pads at first glance would seem like a wasted perk, but personally I slide a lot. You may have noticed this from my previous videos. Fun fact, sliding keeps you off the radar temporarily, and knee pads let you close gaps quick and catch your opponents by surprise. I should mention that the Hitchhiker does have the slowest charge rate of all the fusion rifles, so more often than not I will use it exclusively at medium range encounters. In fact, after acclimating to the low charge rate, I'll run this almost as if I had a sniper in hand. I also pair it with fast firing primary weapons like ARs and hand cannons. Anywho, moving on. This list wouldn't be complete without mentioning one of the most unique fusion rifles in the game. So, number 6, the Susanoo. This fusion rifle is obtained from the gunsmith after reaching rank 3 on a warlock. The Susanoo can deal all 3 elemental burns, depending on the subclass abilities being used, thanks to the perk Elemental Transfusion. It also comes with brace frame and smart drift control, which can be used to maximize stability. It has a charge rate that is just above average for fusion rifles, which makes it very effective in close quarter engagements. But its true strength is in the PvE, where elemental burn modifiers are active. It'll make short work of yellow bar mobs, and it's always nice to have on standby. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever left this weapon in the vault once since I got it. The only downside is that it's warlock specific. I'm gonna make a prediction, someone's thinking the word master race. So simple. Number 5. The Vacancy. This weapon is obtained from the FWC vendor, and it boasts one of the highest base stability stats of any fusion rifle, right behind the Thesan FR4. The Vacancy and Thesan FR4 are actually very similar in terms of base stats, with the Thesan FR4 having a slight edge on almost every stat. The reason I've included the Vacancy and not the Thesan FR4 on this list is because of the perk set available in the current vendor version. It comes with Hot Swap, Rangefinder, and Braced Frame. These perks allow you to land cross-map kills consistently. You'll call hacks on yourself at least once when using this weapon. If you have a Thesan FR4 package on hold, I recommend holding onto it a little longer. Look out for Hot Swap, Accelerated Coils, Rangefinder, or Eye of the Storm. The gunsmith will surely bring in a monster roll soon. I can feel it. I've been holding on to mine only for like 286 days, so trust me, any day now, it's coming. Number 4. The Panther Ray. This fusion rifle is sold by the Crucible Quartermaster, but the version you see here was a drop from the weekly Crucible bounties. It came with Battle Runner, Rangefinder, and Rifled Barrel. I find Battle Runner shines when you don't have exotics or abilities to get you out of sticky situations. I notice its benefit on my Warlock the most, where I don't have Twilight Garrison or Bones of AO or Shade Step to break off a particular engagement, or when I'm pushing aggressively to preserve a kill feed. While most people would rather have Hipfire over Battle Runner, I've personally come to enjoy this perk, mainly because I don't have a choice. I like running it with No Land Beyond, which lets me engage targets both far and near. Oh, you'll notice with the other 2 perks, Rangefinder and Rifled Barrel, this particular version is spec'd for range over stability. This is because I've gotten pretty accustomed to using this weapon as a shotgun substitute, and from personal experience, you can make up for the lack of stability simply by shooting your targets below the waist, and sometimes even the cankles. It'll let you go toe-to-toe with premature shoddy runners, no problem. If you have one collecting dust somewhere, bring it out. Don't trifle someone, you may like it. Number 3. Pocket Infinity. This trifling device is unlike any other. It has soft ballistics and perfect balance, and the diabolical perk Pocket Infinity, which lets you fire in full auto, and will also return missing rounds back to the magazine. In its heyday, this weapon had 8 rounds in a magazine, with extended mags. Sadly, I don't have footage of me using that version, but here's what it felt like to be on the receiving end of a malicious Pocket Infinitum attack. You get absolutely no chance to counter. I can't tell you how many times this weapon has caused me to scream so loud that I'd scare my dog out of the room. It was infuriating. In fact, if you use this gun and didn't get at least 1 death threat, you were using it wrong. These days it can only be obtained from Legacy Special Weapon Engrams sold by Xur, and I'm going to regret telling the Year 2 players that later. Number 2. Ash Raven's Flight. Obtained from the Iron Banner, this is without a doubt my favorite fusion rifle. This particular version comes with Hot Swap, Braced Frame, and Hidden Hand, and it is one of the most consistent fusion rifles I've ever come across. What's odd is that it doesn't boast any amazing base stats. In fact, most of its stats like charge rate, impact, stability, and range are pretty average for the weapon type. but I think it shines for that reason, because it has the right balance of all these characteristics, and that is what makes a perfect fusion rifle. Like the Pantaray, the Ash Raven's Flight can be used in the place of a shotgun, but if you're feeling a little froggy, you can attempt to cross-map someone with semi-great success. I've attempted to max out stability and range independently to see if that would affect its performance at various ranges, and to be honest, I barely notice a difference. I currently run the stability maxed version on my Titan with Weapons of Light for some cross-map shenanigans. Weapons of Light actually reduces the number of bolts required to kill to just 4 bolts. The version you see here is spec'd for stability. Every other clip you've seen with this weapon thus far was from a version that was spec'd for range. If you've played the Iron Banner at all in the past 4 months, you should have like 700 of these just lying around. Go out there, try one. Get that Trifling. Number 1. Telesto. Better than all the rest. Oh, I'm just kidding. Plant C. How'd you go in there for a sec? You can go ahead and stop foaming out the mouth now, thanks. Naturally, it would be Plant C. Obtained from exotic engrams and about 20 different PvE activities, this is and has always been a fan favorite. It has the highest base range stat of all the fusion rifles and is commonly used with smart drift control and hammer forged or perfect balance. It can be spec'd for both range and stability, depending on your playstyle. If you're slide tackling your enemies, I recommend stability. If you're cross-mapping them, I recommend range and the appropriate target adjustment, i.e. shoot for their nether regions. Personally, I prefer smart drift control and perfect balance, as I'm almost always within reasonably close range when using this weapon, so I'm not likely to feel the effects of damage fall off. Back before I paid any attention to fusion rifles, I came across a post on Reddit that stated, for anyone unsure about buying Plan C. I assume Zer was selling it that weekend. Anywho, the Redditor proceeded to land one of the most ridiculous shots I have ever seen with a fusion rifle. It was a shot that would make a sniper jealous. Here, check it out with your own eye holes. And ever since I saw that, I knew I had to partake of it, and so I have. Sadly, fusion rifles don't work like that anymore, but if there is any fusion rifle that will come close to that level of cheesery, the Plan C is the one to do it. The exotic perk Plan C allows you to boost the charge rate of the weapon if you use it immediately after swapping from your primary. If ever I find myself overextended in the enemy spawn, I can trust my Plan C to help me bamboozle my way out of there. Anywho, that's about it. What's your list of the best fusion rifles look like? Are you triggered that I was only joking about the Telesto? And what Tier 1 relics have you held on to? Type at me about it. Next episode I'm thinking will be shotgun related. Or pulse rifles, I'm not sure. But until then, God bless and the deuces.
Thank you.